welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and on today's show, we have a bunch of Texans rumors that we got to run through. Could Will Anderson Jr. get a massive extension on the horizon? We broke down C.J. Stroud possibly getting a contract extension after the Brock Purdy news. Could Will Anderson Jr. be up for a massive extension? Also, could the Texans make a trade with the Packers for one of their premier offensive linemen? He's kind of disgruntled. We'll talk about that on the show. And are the Jags favored to win the division this year? The Texans are back-to-back champs. They're looking to three-peat. Are the Jags the number one problem for the Texans in the AFC South? We'll break that all down on today's show. If you're brand new to the program, this is how we kind of rate all the rumors that come in on this show. It's our Toro heads meter. So if I get something 0 heads, fake news, not happening. 1 head, there's a small shred of truth. 2 Toro heads, kind of think of it as a 50-50 shot. People are talking. 3 Toro heads, I think it's pretty likely. And if it's 4 Toro heads, H-Town, hold it down. It's happening. Now, if you're just new to the program as well, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We bring you daily content for free around your Houston Texans. Never miss a moment of Texans football. During the year, we're going to have live watch parties. So don't miss a single second of Houston Texans football. Make sure you hit that subscribe button 100% free. Now, let's get into the first story on today's show. Will Anderson Jr. Could a massive extension be coming for this young man? 4 Toro heads, H-Town. Hold it down. Will Anderson Jr. will be due for a massive extension this next offseason, and I think he deserves every single penny. You know, I talked about C.J. Stroud on the show earlier this week and about him possibly getting a contract extension. Not that he doesn't deserve one, but the person who I think deserves it the most on this team is actually Will Anderson Jr. He's somebody who is a cornerstone, a building block, somebody who you want in this locker room as a leader. C.J. Stroud is a motivational leader. He's somebody who's able to rally the troops, but Will Anderson Jr. brings some extra juice to this team. And his recent comments just have me, I know we're so far away from the preseason, from actual football. They gave me goosebumps. I'm so ready. He said, I want to be here for the rest of my career. That's music to your ears, Texans fans. One of the best young pass rushers in all of football says, I want to be in H-Town for my entire career. This dude is absolutely him. And then he also went on to say, I'm excited about what we're building here. So he's here for the long haul. He's here to bring a chip to H-Town. We're not going to stop until we put a bull on a ring. That's what D'Amico said this offseason. Stressins, I already said this. If you're watching, put it on a t-shirt. I need that shirt right now. Put a bull on a ring. Let's get it going. But in terms of his contract extension, it's not going to be cheap, right? We look at his teammate, Danielle Hunter right there. Second highest paid edge rusher per year basis in the NFL at $35.6 million. Now, Danielle's getting up there in age, and, his contract, not that it's going to run out by the time you need to pay Will Anderson Jr., but by the time you're actually paying Will Anderson the big bucks, Danielle's contract might be off the books. And then we look at the other top guys, right? Myles Garrett set the stage for $40 million. We don't know where Micah Parsons is going to be, but it's rumored that he's going to try to break that $40 million and get, 41, 42, maybe even $43 million on a per year basis. And I think Will Anderson Jr. should be right up in that number, that ballpark as well. He is the heart and soul of this Texans team. This past year, 37 tackles, 11 sacks, 16 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble. And this was him with Will Anderson Jr., I believe, missing like 3 or 4 games this season. I think he played 14 regular season games for the Houston Texans. But in this day and age, in the NFL, there's, obviously 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense, right? But it's arguably the most important part of the defense. The most important position is that edge rusher. You got to get somebody who can get after the quarterback. And Will Anderson Jr., he just oozes that swarm mentality, right? Special work ethic and relentless mindset. That is Will Anderson Jr. to a T. And that's what D'Amico Ryans preaches. And if he's going to preach that, you need to put your money where your mouth is in paying this man right here. He deserves every penny. So if you're with me, if you want Will Anderson Jr. to be a Houston Texan for life, Go spam those 51s down in the comment section. If Will Anderson Jr. comes across this video, I want him to see nothing but 51s in the comment section. I want him to just see 51, 51, 51. Area 51, baby. I want to see it down below. If you love the Texans and if you want to see Will Anderson Jr. rocking the steel blue for the rest of his career, go down and spam those 51s. Now, let's get into the next part of today's show. Could the Texans be trading for a Packers offensive lineman? Only one Toro head. I'm not going to give it fake news because we've seen crazier things happen. If there's one GM in the NFL besides Howie Roseman that loves a good trade, it's Nick Caserio. I don't think it's likely, but there are the initial rumblings of somebody who's not happy with the cheeseheads up here. It's Elgin Jenkins, the guard/center for the Green Bay Packers. This past year, 17 games played, only 1 sack allowed, and I think this is a big reason why the Packers lost this playoff game is that Elgin Jenkins actually got hurt, I believe, on the first or second drive of that game. He had a stinger in his shoulder that kept him out of that entire game up against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think the Packers would have definitely fared better up against that Eagles front if they had him right here. And you're wondering, Jeremy, if you're talking so highly about this guy, if you think he's that good of a player, why would the Packers trade him? Glad you asked. This is what ESPN had to say on why Jenkins could possibly hold out later in the offseason. Jenkins has 2 years left on a 4-year, $68 million contract extension he signed in December of 2022. It was designed to pay him as if he were staying at guard while also remaining competitive if he moved to the higher price tackle position. The average of $17 million would make him around the highest paid centers in the National Football League. Here's the problem, however, is that centers typically make less than the highest paid guards or tackles. So Jenkins' concerns are tied to future earnings, which could be significantly lower as a center, which I completely understand and agree with, right? If you're telling me, oh yeah, Jeremy, we want you to move to a less desirable position, and I know you're getting paid more now, but down the road, how is that going to affect me? Am I going to get paid less down the road? If that's the case, I really don't want to move to that position. I'd rather stay where I'm at and get this, higher salary, which I think he deserves. Here are his PFF grades over the past 4 seasons with the Cheeseheads. This past year, 65.7 overall, which PFF is pretty tough grader. So I would say anything in the 60s is average, right? 60s is average. Below 60 is not so good. 70s, 80s are, I would say, good. 90 is just out of this world, right? This past year, 65.7, 61.3 run blocking, 81.6 pass blocking. So decent numbers there. But look at these numbers, right? Pretty consistent. 78.3 pass blocking, 67.8 pass blocking, 81.2 pass blocking. He has been a consistently really good guard for the Green Bay Packers. And during his career with the Green Bay Packers, a former second-round pick out of Mississippi State, Elgin Jenkins has played over 4,500 snaps at left guard. Now, this is kind of where the problem lies for me, right? I don't know how the Texans are going to configure their offensive line. How are they going to do it, right? Titus Howard, I have him slotted in at left guard at the moment. But as I said numerous times this offseason, this Texans offensive line is written in chalk, not in ink. Any of these guys can be moved around, and there's no guy who I think is a solidified starter on this Texans offensive line at this moment. Thus, we bring back in the idea of possibly trading for Elgin Jenkins. Now, if you trade for him, I think actually he turns into your best offensive lineman immediately. And I don't think you would move him to center. I think if you trade for Elgin Jenkins, you put him at left guard, maybe you move Titus to right guard, you figure out the center position, and then you have your tackles who you're going to have battling out between Cam Robinson, Ursery, Blake Fisher, whoever else, right? Maybe even Titus Howard in there as well. And this would be my trade idea. This would be my offer to the Green Bay Packers. We get Elgin Jenkins and a 7th-round pick. We're sending the Packers Juice Scruggs and a 2026 3rd-round pick. So the Packers, they still get their center. They get Juice Scruggs because they're wanting a center, a guy who can play that, middle spot for the offensive line. And we get Elgin Jenkins, who immediately upgrades our guard spot. We put Jarrett Patterson in at center. There's not a competition there. We're all good at center. So we have Patterson, Elgin Jenkins. Then we have Cam Robinson or Ursery at left tackle. Right guard, then you put Titus Howard there or Laken Tomlinson. And then right tackle is Blake Fisher, Ursery, or Howard. There's a lot of different ways that you could do this. And now, will the Packers end up trading him? This is why I gave it one Toro head. I don't think it's very likely. But if he's available, Nick Caserio, you should 1,000% be on the phones with the Green Bay Packers trying to get a deal done to help protect C.J. Stroud. Now, I have one more story on today's show. But if, you don't have any Texans gear, I know, it's a hard economy, and I know not everybody can afford a jersey, but if you want a brand new Texans hat, I got you covered with our friends over at Fanatics. Chatsports.com/Texans hats. That link will be in the comment section and description of today's video. That's going to send you straight over to the Fanatics website, and it lets them know that we sent you over there. Hey, it's about to be summertime, sunny outside. Everybody needs a good Texans hat, and they have all different shapes, colors, sizes available. They have the draft hats. They have snapbacks. They have flat bills. They have trucker hats. Any kind of hat you want, they have over there at Fanatics. One more time, chatsports.com/Texans hats. That link will be available in the comment section and description of today's video. Last story on today's show. Jacksonville Jaguars. Are they favored to win the division this year? Fake news. Not happening. Boo. Tomato. Not happening. The Jags, I know, are a hot pick to upset the Texans in the AFC South, but they're actually not even the team that I'm the most worried about personally. And I'll tell you who that is in just a moment. But if you're wondering, Jeremy, why are you even bringing it up if you don't think the Jags are favored to win the division? Because Bleacher Report, they think the Jags are winning the division. This is what they had to say on the Jags offseason. This offseason, the Jaguars lured Liam Cohen away from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and hired him as their head coach. In 2024, he generated buzz as one of the league's top offensive play callers because of his work with Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers personnel. In Jacksonville, Cohen can replicate much of what he did in Tampa Bay with another former number 1 overall pick under center and a talented group of running backs. If Trevor Lawrence stays healthy, he's primed for a bounce-back year. Cohen can work wonders with Lawrence upright in the pocket, throwing downfield to Brian Thomas Jr. and 2024 Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter. Bleacher Report's high on the Jags. They think the Jags are going to win the AFC South, and in their prediction article, they had them going 10-7 and being the division winners. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I'm not a Trevor Lawrence believer. I think he's not a bad quarterback. I don't think he's very good. Go back and watch the Texans-Jags game last year. The Texans did not really play well at all, and Trevor Lawrence missed on multiple throws. Funny enough, one of them to Christian Kirk. Watch the game. Whenever the Texans were home against the Jags, he missed Christian Kirk on a wide open touchdown. And there's more than that. I think their defense is okay. I think the whole thing with Travis Hunter, him playing both ways, is a little bit overblown. I tweeted it out. You're telling me Travis Hunter in the same game is going to try to beat Derek Stingley Jr. or Kamari Lassiter and at the same time try to guard Nico Collins? I don't think so. I actually think, my hot take, the Titans will be the biggest challenge in division for the Houston Texans. Yeah, I said it. I know they have a rookie quarterback in Cam Ward, but I'm actually really high on his ability. I think Cam Ward's going to be a pretty good quarterback there in Tennessee. And football, I'll say it right now and I'll say it again. I've been preaching it for years now. It's won in the trenches. I'm a former offensive line guy. Football's won in the trenches. The Titans, that's what they did this offseason. They really valued the trenches, right? Last year, number 1 overall pick, or not number 1 overall pick, but first round pick for them was J.C. Latham out of Alabama. Then, what did they do this offseason? They paid Dan Moore Jr. That might be of a little bit of a risk, but I like that they're really investing at the line of scrimmage on their defensive line, right? They have some big boys in the middle. I think they have maybe one of the best defensive tackle duos in the NFL in Tavondre Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons. So if I had to pick any team that I'm the most worried about, it would actually be the Tennessee Titans. That's all I have for you on today's show, folks. If you want to continue the conversation, you can always hit me up on Twitter at Jeremy Chuggs. And if you made it to the end of the video, why don't you hit that sub button? What's stopping you? Free Texans videos all year long. We got you covered. Your one-stop shop for Texans news and rumors.